Namaste and welcome back to your mat. My name is Jillian and I'm honored to guide you through this class today. We are going to be moving through several really deep stretches that will be good for if there's any tension or sore muscles in the body. A block is always helpful just in case you need a little bit of assistance or extra support. We will begin in a child's pose. You can bring the big toes to touch and open the knees as wide as feels good, making sure that you've got a deep stretch into the hips. Relax the upper body down and take a couple of slow breaths. Noticing how you feel, where you feel this pose the most. Where can you send your breath to soften into the muscles? And gently lifting yourself up just a little bit so you can weave the right arm underneath the chest, settling onto the right shoulder. Another breath here, tuning in to the rise of the back body and fall, settling deeper into the mat. Pressing through the left hand, switch sides, bringing the left arm under the chest. Keep the forehead down to the mat. Fully arrive in your practice with no expectation. Slowly rising up, press your hands to the mat, drop down through the belly, lift the gaze, sink the hips to the heels. Bring the right arm back down underneath the chest once more, but this time bring the left hand behind the back body. Gently opening through the chest and pressing down through the right arm. Ground down through the left hand once more. Lift the heart. Breathe out, lower back down to the mat with the left arm under the chest, and the right arm can wrap around the back body. Release the bind and start to press yourself back up. Bring your hands to the tops of the thighs, shoulders on top of your hips. When you're ready, keep walking your hands behind you, leaning back, feeling a stretch creep into the tops of the thighs. Pick up the hips and open the heels, settling your hips into a bowl, and you can sway from side to side, lifting each hip. Ground down through the right hand and sweep the left finger overhead, feeling a diagonal stretch from the hip to the shoulder. Switching sides, the left hand grounds down, squeeze the glutes and the core. Settling back down to the hips, shoulders above, and come into your tabletop. Walk the knees under the joints. Take a breath in for cow pose and a breath out for cat pose. Take a few breaths here in your cat-cows, finding your rhythm, listening to what feels good. Feel free to linger where you need. Come back to a neutral spine. Walk the hands forward and send the hips up to a deep downward facing dog. Bend into the left knee and then the right, lifting and rotating each hip. Getting deep into the side bodies, finding strength into the shoulders. Send the right toes up to the sky and bend the knee, opening the hip. Square off the hips and step the right foot outside the right wrist for lizard. Release the knee down and untuck the toes. Settle into this pose. You can sway the hips from side to side, opening the knee, rolling onto the outside of the foot. Begin to make your way into a half split, heel toeing the right foot to the center of the mat, and tucking the back toes, sending your hips to the heel. Try to keep the spine straight, drawing the belly to the thigh, and pulling the toes to the face. And finding your low lunge, ground down through the right foot. You can lift your hands onto the right thigh, sinking deep into the hips. Finding a gentle opening, a little back bend, you can lift the gaze. And with your own time, make your way into a downward facing dog, planting the hands, sending the right foot back. You could take 3-point with the left leg, the toes go to the sky. Finding scorpion, or you can step the left foot now outside the left wrist. Lizard. Send the right leg long. Feel free to drop the hips from side to side, just getting that full stretch. Listen to what feels good. We'll make our way into that half split. Heel toe the left foot to the center of the mat. Tuck the back toes, remembering to keep the spine long. Breathe and settle. Come back to low lunge, bringing the hands to the top of the leg, sinking deeper into the hips with every exhale, opening the heart with your inhales. Linger for as long as you'd like to here. Whenever you're ready, you can ground down through the hands and send the left foot back into your downward facing dog. Pedaling out through the legs, sinking deep into the arms, round forward to your plank, and lower yourself onto the belly. Forearms to the mat, sphinx pose. Bring your toes to the corners of your mat. Gently pressing down through the forearms to lift out of the shoulders. Open across the heart. If you'd like to come into seal, you can lengthen through the arms, breathing across the belly. Release the chest down to the mat. Slide your hands a little bit closer to the shoulders and wider than the mat. Lift up through the elbows and the palms coming to the fingertips. Keeping the chin to the chest, start to peel yourself away from the mat, straightening through the arms, cobra pose. Lift the gaze and ride your breath back down, lifting through the elbows. Pressing yourself up through the fingertips, a juicy back bend. Follow your exhale back down, lifting the elbows. Take a few more beautiful breaths just like this. Lowering yourself back down, bring the hands under the shoulders and press yourself through tabletop and into a downward facing dog. Getting a deep stretch here, broadening across the collarbones. Start to slowly walk your hands to your feet, keeping your hamstrings and legs straight. Taking ragdoll, let the head and shoulders relax heavy, releasing tension from the back body and the upper back. You can hold on to opposite elbows and sway from side to side. Release the hands back to the mat and walk yourself forward to downward facing dog. Pause for a breath. Come up onto the toes and start to walk your feet towards your hands at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold yourself down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale once more, half lift. And exhale. Taking your block here to the top of your mat. Ground down with both hands. It may be helpful to have two blocks, one under each hand, but root down through the right foot and send the left leg long, parallel to the mat. Now, with keeping both hands rooted, we'll start to lift the left hip up almost like in half moon, close it down, and then start to open it towards the right like in revolved half moon, keeping both hands grounded. Start to open it back up, maybe getting a little bit deeper here. Maybe you could float the left fingers and closing it in. Maybe float the right fingers. Open the hip and close the hip. Now we'll take fully revolved half moon. Start to ground down through the left hand and reach the right fingers high, turning the back toes towards the right side of your mat. Beautiful job. Come back through center, switch the block to the right hand, and then open half moon the left fingers to the sky. Feel this in the hips. Softly stepping the back foot down, warrior two. Lean back, reverse warrior. Sink deep into the hips and then come into extended side angle. Opening the side body, drop into the right knee. Trikonasana, lengthen through the right leg, opening the heart, really stacking the shoulders. Drop the left hand down to the right ankle and reach the right arm up high, revolved triangle pose. Lunge deep into the right knee and frame the foot with both hands. Turn up onto the back toes and start to shift from a grounded lunge into lifting the hips, almost finding pyramid. This should feel really good in the front of the left hip and the right hamstring. Now grounding down through the left palm, reach the right arm up high to the sky, twisted lunge. Keep pulling the right arm back behind you, revolving the chest to the sky, getting a nice twist through the spine. Bring the right hand down and step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Come up onto the toes and start to walk towards the hands. Hamstrings are straight. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. Last one. Breathe in and out. Plant the hands, bend into the knees. Bring the block underneath the hands. We'll find the half moon here, sending the right leg long. And start to rotate the right hip up to the sky. Close it in, revolved half moon. But really just focusing on the movement in the hips rather than in the chest and upper body quite yet. You can find the lifted arm. The next time you have the right hand down, sweep the left fingers up high to the sky. Focus on turning the right toes towards the left. Close it down, and you can take half moon with the left hand down. The right fingers go to the sky. Stack the hips. Landing in warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Left hand goes overhead. Beautiful job. We'll land in extended side angle. Right arm can reach overhead. Deep side stretch. Lengthen through the left leg. Find Trikonasana. Rotate the chest open. Pull the right hip back. Close the right hand down. Ground down. And sweep the left fingers to the sky, pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward. Ground. Lunge into the left knee, finding your grounded lunge. Turning on the back toes. Send the hips up for pyramid. Shift forward and back, stretching the hip flexor and the hamstring. Whenever you feel ready, ground down through the right hand and sweep the left fingers up high, finding your twisted lunge. Keep opening the chest, rotating through the spine. Bringing the left hand back down. Slide the left foot back, downward facing dog. Full breath. Deep bend into the knees, lowering them down to the mat. Coming into a toe squat, walk your hands back to the thighs, shoulders on top of hips. Sitting through this, breathing through any discomfort. Sitting with the body. We'll find camel pose. Lift the hips on top of the knees, press them forward. Big sweep up of the arms, squeeze the belly, reach the fingers overhead, leaning back. Open the heart, imagining your light shining out of your chest. Playing around in your camel pose. If you'd like to release the hands down to the ankles, you feel free. Or perhaps taking single arm camel pose. Switching sides. Having one hand to the ankle and reaching the other overhead. Whenever you're ready, rise up, squeezing the belly. Toes untucked. Start to fold forward into a restorative child's pose. Melting the belly and chest over the thighs. Reach your arms back towards the feet. Soften through the shoulders and breathe deeply. You can linger here for as long as you'd like, and when you're ready, come up into a seat. Move around in the body and just notice what feels different. Thank you so much for joining me today. The light in me sees, acknowledges, and honors the light in you and knows that they are the same. Namaste.